Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be part 1 of a character modeling walkthrough series. Before we start, I'd just like to mention I do make use of some built-in Blender add-ons. The first is the Extra Mesh add-on. This gives the rounded cube and single vertex options under the Add Mesh menu. I also have the Bool Tools add-on enabled, which helps with quickly adding Boolean modifiers. I don't actually use it in this video, however. I also have Align to View for new objects under the Editing menu enabled. This is set to World by default, I believe, and this is just a personal preference of mine. So I've made a couple of base mesh blueprint images to help with this stage if you want to follow along. I've hosted them on a site called postimages.org. Link is in the description below if you want to download them. So in this video, we're going to be working on the rough blockout of the character. And at the end, we should have something like this. So getting started, 1 on the numpad for front view, Shift A and add the front reference image. I'm going to scale this up a bit. Then 3 on the numpad to go to side view, and then add in the side profile reference image. You can hold Control while scaling to scale incrementally. You can change the transparency of the images by clicking here. I'm going to reduce it down to about 0.3. You can also change the visibility of the image by changing the side option to front or back, whichever you prefer. You can also change whether the image appears in perspective, orthographic, or both. These options can be really handy when you have reference images from the front, back, sides, top, and bottom. I'm going to leave it on default for now since we only have 2 images. Over on the right layer panel, I'm going to toggle off the select and render options for the reference images. My super cool logo is blocking it, but there's a filter menu up there that you can click on to make these toggles visible here. This will make it so that you can't accidentally select the reference images in the viewport, and also make it so that the images do not appear in the final render. Okay, so Shift A, adding a rounded cube. I'm going to change the radius to 1 and then the arc divisions to 16 for better malleability and control when sculpting. Now Control Tab into sculpt mode. I'm going to select the elastic deform brush. You can also use the grab brush if you prefer. Shift D to duplicate, and we're going to create the jaw. Create another cube for the chin. I'm going to go for a stylized angular look here with the character. Pressing Alt-Z allows you to toggle the X-ray mode, which is very handy. Creating another cube for the nose now. Pressing Shift while using any brush turns it into the smooth brush. This is a super handy shortcut when sculpting. Okay, 3 on the numpad. I'm going to Shift A and add in a cylinder for the ear. Just changing the origin up in the object menu for better rotation. Adding a mirror modifier now over on the right, then pressing Ctrl A and selecting Clear Transforms. This resets the origin point of the object, which is what the mirror modifier uses as its point to mirror over. Shift A, adding a rounded cube again. I'm going to use an operator preset called Capsule for the neck. You can see it creates a longer pill shape, which is great for this application. Shift D to duplicate the head and then pulling it down to shape the chest region. You can see here the mesh doesn't react nicely to the deform brush here, so I'm going to tab into edit mode, and by pressing Ctrl R and playing with the scroll wheel, I'm going to add in some control loops. Now you can see when I go back into sculpt mode, the mesh is a little bit more malleable, which is perfect here. Tabbing into Edit mode, you can also use proportional editing by pressing O and playing with the scroll wheel to change the area of influence when moving vertices. It can be very handy in the blockout stage. Here I am turning symmetry off to sculpt the thighs. I can't get the desired look with it on. Okay, so now onto the hand. I'm going to start with the palm here, scaling on the X and Y axes to get the general shape, and then on to sculpting. Creating a capsule for the finger digits. I'll make 3 for each finger and then rotate them individually into place. You can use control loops to give some more shape to the fingers. Once you have one finger set, you can Shift D to duplicate for the rest, and then make minor adjustments by rotating, moving, and scaling. Okay, so the palm is looking pretty rough still, so I'm going to make some more adjustments. You can press Alt-B to set the view region. This makes for easier orbiting if other stuff starts getting in the way. I put a shape of a foot on the blueprint to help with this part. You can just trace it out using the single vertex option and extruding around. Make sure you have the same number of vertices on both sides. Then, select 4 vertices and press F to create a face on one end. And then switch to edge mode, select the outer edge here, and you can press F all the way down to automatically create quad faces. The calves look a little wonky here, so I'm going to adjust them a bit. Just a little aside, if you want to be able to change between meshes in sculpt mode a little easier, you can go up to the edit menu and uncheck lock object modes. This has objects stay in whatever mode they were in last. So when you alt left click on objects that are in sculpt mode, you can move between meshes a little quicker and easier. It's a terrible explanation, but once you try it out, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so just a little bit of cleanup on the mesh. We just want to go through and make sure the scale on the Object Properties tab are all at 1 across the board. So click on each mesh, and for any that have scale that are not 1, press Ctrl A and clear the transforms to reset everything. Just make sure things like lighting, texturing, and sculpting down the road are uniform and behave consistently throughout the model. So there you have it, a rough block out of our character. I hope that helped, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and see you in the next one.